So thank you for joining us for our second video on the Pasture pork video series that we're doing. This week, it's been a couple weeks since our first video. And at this point, if you remember from the first one, we started out with the pigs coming in, and we put them in a stall that was actually used for sheep. At this point, they've gotten comfortable with being here. They know who I am. When I feed them, they're comfortable with me. So at this point, I'm starting to transition them out to pasture because that's really where I want them to be. So back here is the door to the stall that they were in. I'm letting them out. I have temporary fence set up with electricity on it. And I have a pasture house out here where they can kind of get used to that. Go inside of it, get comfortable, and the electric fence, they have now been trained to it, and they are staying inside the area where I want them. Okay, so we moved the pigs out onto the pasture, and then once you move them out, pigs are gonna, for the majority of pigs, they're gonna be rooting. In this area, you can see this is where the pigs have rooted up the ground. They're looking for roots and bugs and all kinds of goodies in the soil. And this is a weedy part of the pasture, so it's not hurting my feelings too much that they've come out here and rooted. I'm gonna come through and probably prepare this and plant it next spring, but I don't want them to totally destroy this area. So I am regulating how much damage they do in here, and I have a temporary fence here, and that's where we're going to be moving the fence and rotating these pigs to fresh ground so that they don't do too much damage to the soil in the area that they're in. So now that we're moving them out to pasture, let's take a look at the electric fence setup that we're using. In this case, we are using a solar energizer. That way it's movable. We can use it wherever we move the pen. We can use this to energize the wires. Here we're using poly wires. And with this particular setup, it has 4 strands. But really what we're looking at is these bottom 3 strands are going to be the most important. We want this bottom one to be pretty low to the ground so that they can't get their heads underneath. And that it's going to do a good job at preventing them from really getting their heads through or bodies through whenever they're grazing. So thanks for joining us for the second video. If you have any specific questions on raising pigs on pasture, give our office a call. We would be glad to help you.